favor. They are great American patriots. They just happen to have, and here we go, quite frankly, much larger and harder muscles than most.
Stop for a second. Everybody across the world can see these kind of things, right? So it's like one of those things, right? You know, people say like between Democrats and Republicans, you know, you pick the side, right? You pick the team and you root for your team, right? Ultimately, even though I have picked a team and I'm rooting for my team, like ultimately America is my team, right? So this is fucking embarrassing as an American. Like, not just, this is just one of many, right? This is light work compared to some of the other stuff that he's been doing here lately. But yeah, this is light work. But again, you know, to go off on a rant of how ICE is, you know, improving their image because they're walking around the airports doing nothing, talking to people and socializing and things of that nature, instead of shooting people with pepper. Like, nobody's going to forget those things. But yeah, nice try, right? It's even worse when you type it and say it out loud, that's what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, if you would have just let it live, like that's what you were doing, like we can see through the lies. It, you know, it might have even worked, right? But when you say it out loud, it's like, okay, you're trying to play in our face. And then the weirdo shit with the muscles, and come on, man. Like, we've seen all these videos. Like, not all these dudes are small. Some of these dudes are a little on the pudgy side. We got some Winnie the Poohs out there in ICE and CBP uniforms. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Trey.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Back at it with another video.
Another one.
First and foremost, thanks to all of y'all that have subscribed. Obviously, I'm a new YouTuber, so it means a lot. Thanks for everybody that's in the comments, keeping the conversation going. Yeah, man, I appreciate everything, and I'm gonna keep this thing rolling. I'm gonna keep getting better. We're gonna get into another video. This is another video from Jack Cocchiarelli. I know I'm probably messing his name up, but we're gonna keep it pushing. He's talking about the situation still ongoing with the TSA workers. All right, obviously the government's still shut down. Congress had, you know, come to an agreement for a second. Excuse me, the Senate had came to an agreement on, you know, funding everything except for ICE. Sent it to the House. The House immediately said, nah, we ain't gonna push this forward, and then they went on a break, right? So Jack is going to go into it on a little bit more detail. Let's see what he's talking about.
Donald Trump is being forced to surrender, and it took less than 48 hours. What we have seen at American airports over the past couple of weeks has been a direct reflection of the incompetence of Donald Trump and Republicans. Republicans are unable to govern. Fundamentally, they do not want to. They want to obstruct. They want to bring us back. They want to make things worse. So why would you ever put them in charge? And that is what so many are waking up to, as mass resignations have led Donald Trump to lose control of a plan he just started this week and has already backfired.
Before he gets too far into it, this is one of my problems, me personally, with our political system. You know, we got to see this. The Republicans were able to utilize the filibuster and their power in Congress and the Senate to push back on previous administrations. You know, just to fight tooth and nail however they could, right? So Democrats are taking an opportunity to stand for something, right? So I do appreciate that. You know, but ultimately it comes at the expense of us, the people, right? So TSA workers are caught up in this. Now, I do have to say Democrats have been at the table trying to reach some sort of agreement with Republicans. But as you can see, when Republicans hold the majority, it's like, well, or whichever party holds the majority, they can come to a compromise or an agreement, but nobody can force them to, right? So now we're seeing how these things play out when, you know, government is allowed to operate how it can, right, within the limits of what power everybody has, and you see bullshit like this taking place. It's unfortunate because real people's lives are at stake.
Before we get to Donald Trump quitting and, of course, those mass resignations with Mike Johnson and Donald Trump's stooges trying to spin. But the spin doesn't work when Donald Trump is on the record. But Mike's sure going to try, isn't he?
Speaker, it seems as though Republicans and Democrats are talking past one another right now. Is the only person who could solve this the President of the United States, and why isn't he involved?
Well, I think he is involved. I mean, I know he had a group of...
down the plan yesterday.
Well, that's what's been reported. Okay, he brought some...
He said that in the Oval Office that he was not pleased with that plan.
Well, I actually have his exact quote somewhere. I think he said that, to paraphrase him, I think he said he's a little skeptical or cynical that a deal's going to come together.
So, of course, Mike Johnson was confronted by that reporter yesterday about Donald Trump admitting that he's the one blocking TSA funding, but I just wanted to make sure that we had that clip. Question: would you sign a deal to fund everything but ICE to get those TSA agents repaid? Trump: any deal Democrats make, I'm pretty much not happy with it. Trump is admitting he's the one blocking TSA funding. So great job with your...
And this is one of those things, the reason why I was saying that I have an issue with, when people are playing politics. In Trump's position, right, they hold the majority in the House and the Senate right now. So he's saying, no, like, I don't have to make a deal with y'all. Unfortunately, he's in one of those situations to where it just makes more sense for him to make a deal. Some sort of concessions have to be made on both sides. It is what it is, in order for the people to not have to continue to suffer through it. Or we can continue down this line and, we see what the result is. So it's interesting that, Republicans are still holding that line that this is a Democrat Party shutdown, which, yes, that's how it started. This Democrats decided to draw a line in the sand with funding for DHS. But they immediately got to work on what would be the solution. They said these are the reforms that must be in place for ICE and Border Patrol and things of that nature, and headed to the negotiating table. Once again, to say this is anything other than on the Republicans to either work some sort of deal, some sort of compromise, it's a farce. And I hope people aren't still believing it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Stuttering fake-ass spin, Mike Johnson. It's not going very well. And I hate that airports are like grounding flights, that the wait time to get through TSA is 3 hours. I will say this. I try to stay... No, it's not true. That's bullshit. I don't try to stay away from it. I do have a bit of like, you got yourself into this with the MAGA voters. And I hate to see people like you and I who wanted maybe to stop this being impacted. It's bullshit. It's terrible. But all the people, that's to say, all the people who claim, well, I don't really do politics. I don't get involved in politics. Both sides. I bet you're not fucking saying both sides right now while you're waiting 3 hours at TSA. I bet you're really wishing that Pete Buttigieg was protecting planes from dropping out of the skies. And I wish you that every Democrat who's voting to fund TSA was in the majority and we had a Democratic president so you could get on your plane. So hopefully at least this is a wake-up call to the I don't do politics people, that maybe politics is going to be doing you if you don't do politics. So just keep that in mind.
So I love the fact that he says that. Like, a lot of people say, they don't believe in politics, they don't do politics, they don't trust politicians. Hey, politicians are doing you. Like Jack said, they are doing you. Check your pocketbook, check like everything that your kids' school, the funding, the lack thereof, the roads, you name it, everything in your life is affected by politics and policies and lack thereof, right? So everything is controlled by politics. So that's the reason why it's more important that we are invested, especially invested locally, more so than what's happening in DC. But yeah, politics affects everything. I was one of those people that, and I still have my negativity towards politics and politicians and the two-party systems. I can talk for days about my problems with the system. But the fact of the matter is, it is the system that we have. You have to take some sort of ownership and some sort of engagement with it. You have to be a part of it because it's affecting everything that you are doing and the things that you're complaining about. All of the things that are happening in your life are tied into some sort of politics, policy, and things of that nature. So take ownership of that. And yeah, we can't, I can't pick all of our leaders. We aren't kingmakers, but we can, we use our vote as our voice, so to speak. So, don't let anybody take that away from you, and don't just give that away willy-nilly.
And it's what we are hearing now. And Donald Trump, he can't silence it because TSA workers are making very clear who's responsible and how difficult that this has been.
It is unconscionable for people to have to work for 42 days and not be paid. Give me some sense of how this is affecting you, because you and your husband both work for TSA in Florida. How difficult is this for the both of you? You've got two incomes that are being stripped from your family.
Not only two incomes, my in-laws also work for the agency. So even the people that we could have probably asked for some sort of money or some sort of help, they're also in the same position where they cannot help. I mean, we're really making do with what we have, stretching that dollar, having to carpool. At this point, it has come to the point of like having to skip meals because I have to make sure that my kids are fed. And so if it comes down to, I'll just feed them and I'll skip a meal and, we'll keep stretching that dollar, so be it.
It is.
We have government workers missing meals. And I'm assuming like rationing their medicine, unable to pay rent because Donald Trump is trying to get more funding for ICE, which, by the way, is being paid at the airport. Like they're just sitting around.
And another thing, I know the Save America Act is also playing a role in their willingness to approve and or disapprove the little reforms that have been put in, and the funding bill that Democrats pushed up and the Senate agreed on, and things of that nature. But one thing that I also wanted to admit, found out through, ingesting other media and things of that nature, that this is also part of Project 2025 an effort to try and privatize not the TSA, but kind of to get rid of the TSA and privatize like airport security and things of that nature. Because it's one of those things, like the TSA is unionized also. So, capitalism hates unions. I know that much for sure, right? So you gotta, there's a deeper meaning, and a deeper playbook that's at work that, that at surface level, we're not really worried about, right? We're worried about, people are working without being paid because of the shutdown, and we want to get them paid. But again, people are in a lab concocting all these weird schemes and plans to, make a whole bunch of craziness happen. And this is another one of those things that, a lot of people aren't talking about. Some people are, but a lot of people aren't really talking about the fact that this was also an initiative of Project 2025.
Like fucking fingers up their butts, like slapping each other's dicks around, being the idiots that they are, harassing people, attacking people, and they're getting paid for it. Maybe we take a little slice of that money that ICE has and like an overfunded budget and give it to TSA. Or maybe we just don't need more ICE funding. It is ridiculous that the people who started this administration last year complaining about government waste and fraud are now the ones letting it rip on all of us. And Donald Trump realizes that political reality because it's fucking him up, and it's why he's having to quit after these mass resignations. TSA chief, more than 480 screeners have quit during the shutdown. This is a dire situation, McNeil warned, as the FIFA World Cup looms.
Real quick, he's about to highlight just a whole bunch of resignations. But if you were TSA, right, we're going on, I know it's been like 40-something days that they haven't been getting paid or something like that. So I think that at minimum they've missed 2 paychecks, but it's been like off and on, off and on. Yeah, like just think about your situation. Put yourself in those shoes. Like, can you afford to miss 1 paycheck? Can you afford to miss 2? What kind of changes and concessions in your life would you have to make in order to be able to work while your government, figure their shit out? And how would you feel about, hey, there was a deal on the table to at least get you paid, and you know what I'm saying, they go back to the drawing board, but people were turning it down. And by the way, like, if anybody knows anybody that's in the Coast Guard and things like that, like, nobody's talking about them, but like, yeah, Coast Guard falls under this too. So it's a mess, man. I can't imagine being in that type of situation, and I don't imagine I would have held on for a long time before I would have retired, resigned, sought employment elsewhere. I can't. The lady was saying, hey, skipping meals and things of that nature. Like, I am a forward thinker, so yeah, I would hold out for as long as I could, but I definitely would be looking at other employment. It just is what it is.
Acting chief of the Transportation Security Administration told lawmakers Wednesday that more than 480 airport screeners have quit since the DHS shutdown began last month. At a House Homeland Security Committee hearing, McNeil, the acting administrator, added that the TSA workforce stands to lose $1 billion in missed paychecks should the shutdown persist through Friday. Multiple major airports are experiencing 40 to 50% call-outs among TSA workers, forcing the consolidation of screener lanes. Smaller airports are exploring possibilities of closing if there aren't enough officers, McNeil said. She also said that there's been a spike in assaults on screeners still showing up to work. Just disgusting. McNeil warned that any officers the agency hires in the coming months won't be ready to work checkpoint lanes during the FIFA World Cup this summer. And last week, DHS said that 366 screeners had quit. 366 quit since the start of the shutdown. And with all of this pressure, Trump's Taco Tuesday sees him cave to Republican pressure on deal with Democrats to solve the airport chaos. White House officials said the president will now reverse course on his hard line over a DHS deal as airport security lines cause headaches nationwide. Of course, Donald Trump is going to give up, but honestly, I am surprised it came this soon. The cruelty is the point for this guy. Donald Trump is happy for Americans to suffer. It does not bother him. He has been flying private his entire life. Donald Trump has no understanding of what it's like to be a normal person. He has no conception. He's out of touch, and more so than ever with his cognitive decline. And that was on full display when Donald Trump made, and I'm being so truthful.
I think it more so has to do with the fact that he believes that he has all the leverage and he holds all the cards. It is what it is. In his mind, and I mean, partly rightfully so. I don't think he's correct, right? But I think in his mind, like, we hold the House, we hold the Senate, and I'm the president. We hold the judiciary as well. Like, what I say goes. Like, what I want is what is going to happen. So it's up to Congress and it's up to the Senate to make what I say happen. And since they are not getting exactly what he wants, he's like, nope, figure it out. That's not what I want. That's not what I said. So
here, possibly the most homoerotic post we've ever seen from him about ICE trying to bolster their credibility, being at the airport, doing nothing. You're going to want to see this. Donald Trump wrote on Truth Social, and buckle up, quite frankly, I am so proud of our ICE patriots. They were unfairly maligned by the lunatic Democrats for years, and now at the airports, in addition to what they are supposed to be doing, they are helping people with bags, even picking up and cleaning areas. They are so proud to be there. The fact is, they shouldn't have to do this. No, they shouldn't have to do this. You shouldn't have sent them. But they are rehabbing a fake image given them by the radical left Democratic politicians, or ICE just killed people, so maybe we don't love them that much. The public is loving ICE. That's not true. So the Democrats unwittingly did us a favor. They are great American patriots. They just happen to have, and here we go, quite frankly, much larger and harder muscles than most.
Stop for a second. Everybody across the world can see these kind of things, right? So it's like one of those things, right? You know, people say like between Democrats and Republicans, you know, you've picked a side, right? You picked a team and you root for your team, right? Ultimately, even though I have picked a team and I'm rooting for my team, like ultimately America is my team, right? So this is fucking embarrassing as an American. Like, this is just one of many, right? This is light work compared to some of the other stuff that he's been doing here lately. But yeah, this is light work. But again, you know, to go off on a rant of how ICE is, you know, improving their image because they're walking around the airports doing nothing and talking to people and socializing and things of that nature, and instead of shooting people with pepper, like nobody's going to forget those things. But yeah, nice try, right? It's even worse when you type it and say it out loud that's what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like if you would have just let it live, like that's what you were doing, like we can see through the lies. It, you know, it might have even worked, right? But when you say it out loud, it's like, okay, you're trying to play in our face. And then the weirdo shit with the muscles, and come on, man. Like we've seen all these videos of ICE. Like not all these dudes are swole. Some of these dudes are a little on the pudgy side. We got some Winnie the Poohs out there in ICE and CBP uniforms. And don't get it twisted, man. Hey, like it's pudgy folks in all different uniforms and things of that nature, you know. But you know, specifically talking about the piece of shit ICE agents that we have seen terrorizing people. That's what I'm getting at. You know, I did a video on the whole, you know, ICE being at the airport. Right now, they're not doing shit, so I don't got a problem with the ICE that are in the airport. The ICE that are in the streets, however, we've seen them being foul, so fuck them.
Ooh, we love those large, hard muscles. So hard, so large, and that's how we like them, not just muscles. Oh, yeah. Which is what they're supposed to have. Thank you to ICE for the great job they are doing. America very much appreciates it. President Donald J. Trump. I'm going to do my best with like Jerry Seinfeld and George Costanza here. Is he gay? Not that there's anything wrong with that. Big, hard, muscly, strong, tough, lathered up guys. I know he didn't say lathered up, but he got pretty close there. And we love the big guys, and they're so strong and so tough and so muscly. I just want to grab them. I just love guys. We love guys. Get me more guys. Can I get guys all around me? We should take our shirts off.
All of that with the hand gestures too. Jack he's better than me. I can't stick to
What the fuck is he saying? Truly, what is he saying? Well, I'm at a loss for words. At a loss for words. My friend Peter Rothplatz today, who is a member of the LGBTQIAS plus community, he responded saying, "This is gayer than anything I've ever tweeted." Like, what is he saying? I'm struggling to get the words out here, because if Donald Trump thinks having ICE at the airports is a political win for him, I don't know what he's watching. Donald Trump is being very publicly and rightfully blamed for the delays in TSA, and sending ICE only reinforces the point that Donald Trump is responsible and does not care and is making it worse. Are you applauding that we're spending, how much is the salary of an ICE agent with their bonus? $250,000? So we have $250,000 a year janitors at airports, mostly sitting around, like they picked up some trash. Like, how much trash is, like, there's not trash at airports. Like, maybe someone like leaves a water bottle on the floor, but do we need 100 ICE agents harassing and attacking people and making them uncomfortable to pick up that water bottle? What are you saying? They're lovely guys. It's a little gay. It's again, not that there's anything wrong. I think you know the Seinfeld episode I'm referencing. Not that there's anything wrong with that. What is he talking about? Somehow that wasn't even the worst response to ICE at the airport that we've seen, because Carolyn Levitt had her take.
Lines that we've all seen the video of that from various airports. Is that going to be what ends the stalemate in Congress to get DHS funded?
Well, look, it's the Democrats who have led to this stalemate over the past 6 weeks.
Oh, yes, it is the
Gotta
fault
stick to the
of,
line.
guess who? It is the fault of Democrats. Who is surprised that Carolyn Levitt has decided to whip up the blame pie and serve a big slice to us? Now, I don't know if Carolyn Levitt pays attention. Doesn't seem like she does. But every single vote against funding TSA yesterday came from you heard that correctly, Republican. And some, like Rick Scott, who's worth $250 million because of the fraud he pulled off. Maybe we should get J.D. Vance and that Nick Shirley kid with the disability, it seems, learning disability. Kid's a fucking idiot. Maybe we should get them to look into the fraud. But a guy like Rick Scott, worth $250 million.
By the way, that dude's been propped up as the voice of the people. Like, he's like a godsend for the conservative right. Nick Shirley, everywhere he goes and pops up, people cling to that shit. Like, he's speaking fucking from the Bible. It's a shame.
$1 billion voting against funding for TSA. People are rationing meals. People are rationing medicine. People can't pay rent. And he doesn't care, because one, he doesn't care, but two, because he flies private. So why would they? These are the out-of-touch people in charge of governing us, and they're not governing, they're running this country into the ground. There's also a report yesterday that amid this ongoing shutdown, Delta has decided that they are going to close like the service desk reserved strictly for members of Congress to make it more difficult for them to fly as well. This is the type of stuff that we should do. Government shutdown, you're not getting paid, right? And if the government is shut down for a month or two, you all lose your jobs if you're in the majority. Like, this is bullshit.
So I think their pay should definitely be tied into government shutdowns. And I don't think they should be allowed to take recesses during shutdowns. I think, it's your job to figure out a solution to the government, right? So if there is an ongoing shutdown, like, yeah, you can work from whatever, normal business hours for Congress and the Senate are. Yeah, you can work for whatever your business hours are, but yeah, you got to keep coming back. You got to keep coming back until the government's open. You ain't allowed to go on vacation. You damn sure ain't allowed to go to fucking Disneyland or some shit like that while the government shut down. I don't think that should be a thing. And you shouldn't be getting paid at the bare minimum.
So fed up with these people. They are so out of touch, and they don't care about us at all. And I'm just done. At least Donald Trump has his big, strong men, and we love men, and we are.
Yeah. I mean, so obviously he said a lot there, but I mean, it's one of those things. Like, I get where he's coming from. He's laughing to try and keep from crying, because this is crazy stuff. It's like, when things like these are happening, for us that are trying to maintain our sanity, it's like, it seems like a no-brainer. Like, why can't y'all get this right? And then, you're just stuck watching from a distance, hoping that everybody figures it out. But what do y'all think? In the comment section, let me know. Y'all still, since the Democrats are the ones that initiated the shutdown, are they still at fault? Or Republicans, since they hold the House and the Senate, the presidency, since they hold all the true power in government, is it up to them to figure out a way to, compromise or, open the government? Let me know in the comment section. If y'all haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me grow. But in the meantime, I'll holla at you.
Hating on my energy. I don't think you wanna be my enemy. I pop out, they go wild, so celebrity. Too busy